Good morning. Um, I do any of you guys have family in the military? You don't? Well, I noticed the Navy shirt out there. Probably just like you, I had no thought of ever being in the military or joining the military because right out of college I started teaching school. Um, no thought of the military whatsoever. But I was drafted, and my father had been in the Navy. Um, I knew that I got seasick and didn't want to be in the Navy, so I joined the Army before I was drafted. Um, Now, I had thought that I would do 2 years of service and get back to teaching school. Uh, But what happened was I liked it so much that I spent a career, 24 plus years, uh, in the military service. Why did I stay? Well, part of it was because of the opportunity. You wouldn't believe what they had me do when I joined the Army. They had me teaching school. I was a senior instructor at the U.S. Army Signal School. So I was doing my civilian job in the military. Except that I was having a lot more fun because I learned to fire weapons. I learned to blow up things. I could drive a tank. Uh, I could shoot big guns. Uh, and I traveled. I kind of traveled all over, all over the U.S. and part of the world. But one of the things that is really significant about the military is that any civilian job that you're thinking about, the military has it. If you're going to be an accountant, there's accountants in the military. If you're going into the legal field, we have the legal field. Whatever it is, medical, everything that you can do in the civilian world, you can get experience doing it in the military services. However, I guess what kept me there too were the people that I met. It was just fascinating to meet people from all over the world. I grew up in South Texas in a very, um, I guess, small group, probably like you do, because your friends are like you. Oh my gosh, these people are all different. They were different colors, different nationalities, different religions. So very interesting. But the one thing that they had in common was their training, highly trained, highly specialized in their skills, uh, very good at what they did, and really worked hard at being the best that they could possibly be. Um, so I kind of stayed in it for the people as well. But the traditions fit me. The military is organized and structured, and I like that in my life. That's part of my life, and I know that you can see that uh, kind of handed down with Mr. Zeppelin as well, because he is also structured and highly organized. However, um, the challenges were the most fun. Um, Constantly something new coming up that you had to make decisions about that that caused you to think, that caused you to use your initiative and be creative, and that's very stimulating and was a lot of fun for me. Um, Serving my fellow man was important to me. To be of service, to be helpful. That's what I did as a teacher, and that's what I did in the military. I felt like I was some value, that I was giving something back to a country and a people that had done so much for me. And then there was the leadership opportunities, because in the military, you constantly grow, you constantly improve, you progress in rank, and you have more and more responsibility. And I like that part of it too. Now, there were definitely some negatives, guys. I wasn't around my family at Christmas and Thanksgiving. I was away, and that's very difficult. And to this day, I really think about our service men and women on holidays, because I know that they're not with their families, and that's really really hard. Uh, the other thing is uncertainty of where you're going to be sent. You don't really know. You have no control of that. You can only know that it's going to be a challenge wherever you go, and that is both a negative and a positive. Now, the way I mitigated personally the negative part is I did 7 years of service, active duty in the Army, and then I did the rest of my 24 plus years in the Army Reserve. Now, we have actually, most of our service members are presently serving in the U.S. Army Reserve or the National Guard for any particular state. There's only 18 active divisions of the United States Army presently on duty. The other 30 plus are on duty in the reserves and National Guard. And the way that works is you serve from home. You serve one weekend a month. You serve a Saturday and Sunday doing your job, your military job. And then you do 2 weeks of training in the summer. And that could be anywhere. That's not close to home. It's somewhere across the country, or many serve in another across the world somewhere. So I want you to know that you can, if you're interested in the military, it doesn't have to be that that you serve full-time active duty. You can also do it in the reserves. Do you have any questions about that? Any questions about anything I've mentioned so far? A couple of things I wanted to tell you. I think that of all the training that I received in the military, the leadership training was absolutely the most vital and really the most interesting. Now, when I say leadership training, you're probably thinking, oh boy, I can tell people what to do and they have to do it. And that's true. You do get to tell people what to do and they have to do it. But that's not leadership. Anyone can tell someone else what to do. It's getting them to do it in a way that you get the absolute best from them. So leadership is making people want to follow your direction because they want to do it. For example, think about your class with Mr. Zeplin. He can give you an assignment. Are you going to do that assignment? Yes, you're going to do it. But what if it's exciting and interesting? And what if you get to use your imagination and initiative doing it? You're going to do it the absolute best that you possibly can. And you're going to feel really good about whatever it is you did. One of the things that I thought that Mr. Zeplin did that just blew me away during this pandemic he asked some of his band students to go home and teach, while they were home, to teach one of their parents how to play their instrument. Oh my gosh, isn't that creative? What do you learn, or how do you learn the most? By teaching someone else. And you know what? The students did, or were able to teach their parents how to put a flute together and how to get some notes out of it. I thought that was so creative. So in the military, when someone would come to me and say, "Sir, we've got this problem. How are we going to handle this?" Could I tell them? Absolutely, I could. But would that be the right thing to do? No. What I would say is, well, how would you do that? What would your approach be? Well, sir, I think we could do this, this, or this. And I would say, well, you know what? I really like that idea. Or have you thought of maybe adding this to it? And then they would go away, and it was their responsibility. It was their idea. So how much harder are they going to work when it's their idea and their initiative than when you just command them to do something? So leadership is much more complex. And if you'll think about your teachers use those skills every day, your coaches use those skills every day to try to get the most from you. And now, did I ever tell people what to do? Yes. But they did it because they wanted to do it. They wanted to follow me. I didn't have to worry about were they going to be behind me when I led them somewhere. Because first of all, I led by example. I did it first. Whatever it was, I wasn't afraid to do it first. So they saw it be done. And then I let them lead and train them to lead as well. And that's what makes good followers is good leaders. Anyway, that was kind of my take on the leadership thing. You know, there's a lot of ways to serve our great country other than military service. 70 million Americans served their country on November the 3rd. How did they do that? Yeah, they voted. And that's a service to their country. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
They voted.
Yes, yes. And that's serving their country. I'm looking out at you right now, and I'm thinking to myself, we're in a battle. We, as all Americans, are in a battle. And I can see with my eyes that you are serving your country right now. How are you doing that?
Go ahead, Alexander.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak
I'm
up.
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Wearing a mask.
Absolutely. You're wearing a mask. You're socially distancing. We're at a war with COVID-19 right now. And we think of, well, who's on the front lines with that? It's all of our medical people, all of our first responders. But it's each one of us. Each one of us has the responsibility of making sure that we don't spread this virus to another American, that we don't take it home to our family. And that is a tremendous service to our country. And what better service Than when you look around and see Mr. Zeplin at the back of the room. How is he serving his country every day?
Teaching.
You're gonna have to speak up for him to hear you.
Just scream.
Oh, teaching.
Exactly. What better way than to work with the young people of the country and to make them the best that they possibly can be? So look around at all of your teachers. They are serving every day. And you are by doing your absolute best where you are. And each of you have a career out there somewhere, no matter what it is, that is going to be of service to your country by being the absolute best that you can be. So you don't have to be in the military. Some of us are, some of us enjoyed it. But there's other ways to do that. And I'd like for you to remember that as well. Do you have any questions of me at all?
I told you they were 8th graders early in the morning.
And that's quite all right.
It is probably about time to wind down anyway.
All right.
Is there
Well,
any-
ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure meeting you. And it's a pleasure providing some service to you. You guys have a great day. Do your best, okay?
Thank you, Dad.
All right. Love you, son.